and services to victims and survivors of violence against women and children.
All right.
Women's desk.
You have heard what she said. They are asking that each annual conference create a women's desk that will provide programs and services to victims and survivors of violence against women and children. Is this specific? Kung hindi siya ganon, hindi nila saklaw? Because you have specified the purpose of it, that it has something to do with violence against women and children. And if it has nothing to do with violence, even if it's a women's issue, they have nothing to do with that. Who can respond? Yes, yes, Sister Angie.
Bishop, ngandang gabi po uli. Pwede rin po bang i-expand yung recommendation namin to
Yes,
also
that is our
Yeah.
purpose of discussing it.
Yeah, kasi po nung dinidiscuss namin yan, we zero in dun sa victims and survivors of VAUSI. But also we would like this to include other women's issues.
All right. But if you do that, all issues are women issues. It becomes very wide in scope. Well, anyway, it's before you. Any further discussion? So we have to amend this now. And so the wordings would be that every annual conference create a women's desk that will provide programs and services to victims and survivors of violence against women and children and other issues
Affecting
and other women and children issues. Do you want to say something?
No more, Bishop.
None. Okay.
I was just saying other issues affecting the life of women and children and youth.
All right. Are there any other remarks? So, kung wala, we can put this matter to a vote. Yes, Sister Phoebe.
Sa kabila.
You go to the next microphone.
Hello. I would like to include in the women's desk tasks helping women participate more actively and effectively in the life and work of the church.
All right. So how would you word this now? How would you put the language here?
I don't have the...
Bigyan nyo ng kopya. I will read it. That every annual conference create a women's desk that will provide programs and services to victims and survivors of violence against women and children. How would you insert that now?
And enable women
All right. And enable women to
participate
participate
more actively, meaningfully, and effectively in the life and work of the
in
church.
the life and work of the church. All right. Okay, is that okay? Are you accepting now the amendment? Oh, mayroon pa? Kung wala na, lahat natatanggap, itaas ang kamay. Lahat natutol, pinagtibay. Agyaman na kapo. Sumarano.
Madimuton.
That the Central Conference allocate all right. Thank you. So that becomes the main motion. We still have to vote on it. No, awatan nyo na dyan, ang ato yung tiimayo. Alright. And if you're against it, it's done.
Okay.
Third, that the Central Conference allocates an amount of 100,000 pesos program support to the Board of Women's Work. Okay. They are asking for a 100,000 pesos. It is, yes, Brother Ernesto.
Ernesto Ramos, Minpac. I refer that recommendation to the CFA, Bishop.
All right, this is a financial matter. It's normally referred to CFA. Those who would refer it, raise your hand. Those against, it's done. Thank you. And the last recommendation is that the Central Conference allocate fixed amount of 5,000 pesos every month as office rent of the Board of Women's Work. So you are renting an office and then you are fixing the amount of your rent. Yes, Brother Erning.
Just the same, Bishop, refer this matter to the CFA.
All right. Okay. Those who would refer it to CFA, raise your hand. Those against, it's done. Is this all your report?
Yes, Bishop.
All right, then you are
Thank
done.
you.
Thank you very much. Brother Secretary, any other matter?
The Legislative Committee on Mission and Evangelism, Bishop, they are ready to report.
All right. Legislative Committee on Mission and Evangelism, are you prepared to present a report? Who is in charge? Thank you. Yes, after counting the ballot and after also
Dalawain ko ang tipara ko.
yes, okay.
Yan, madilim.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to make two. Yan.
You may proceed.
Bishop and members of this Central Conference, good evening. This is the report of the Committee on Mission and Evangelism. Yesterday, I convened the meeting of the Mission and Evangelism, and there were 75 members, and only 19 of them were present. And voting for 19 and abstained 0 and abstention 0. Actions. Actually, we started first the organizational setup, and we were able to elect the chairperson. The convener had been elected as the chairperson, yours truly, Reverend Sosimo T. Mabuti of our faith, and the secretary is no other than Miss Iscusa. And the actions and recommendations are the following. First, to create a United Methodist One-on-One Material Incorporated with strategies for creative evangelism, which aims to equip members for evangelization. This shall be simplified and contextualized. Second,
Let us do it immediately. Will you explain that?
The reason behind why we have this action and recommendation, Bishop, is that, sad to say, the United Methodist Church is losing that kind of evangelistic style, and that is one-to-one evangelism. We are used to have the mass campaign of what we call this revival, but having one-on-one evangelism is not the way of our discipleship in the United Methodist Church. It so happened that I am a navigator. By my expertise at that time was in discipleship making. I was reared in a international organization, Christian organization, that is the Navigators. It is here in the Philippines, Bishop.
All right, any further remarks, inquiries, discussion about this recommendation? That we create a one-to-one materials which you incorporate the strategies for creative evangelism. Any further discussion? Did you understand the proposal? All right, if you are ready to vote, those who would approve it, raise your hand. If you're against, do the same. Thank you. Disapprove. You may proceed, Brother Asusimo.
Hello, hello. Second. Hello. Second, Bishop, to create, intensify cell groups in all ages, ranges from the children, youth, young adults, and elders, with the primary goal of making disciples. Bishop, this is in connection with the process in which we are going to enhance the believers in doing the discipleship system in our local churches. As a matter of fact, this has been employed in our churches in Rizal District under the Rizal Philippines Annual Conference in Manila.
To whom do you give this responsibility? To the local church annual conference, the pastor, or to whom?
Actually, Bishop, the intention of this recommendation is to refer this to the annual conference so that the annual conference can identify the pastors as well as the persons that will be doing this intensified discipleship scheme.
All right. Yes, Brother Ernesto.
Ernesto Ramos Minpak, I move that we refer this matter to the Board of Discipleship.
All right. This is a matter of referral. It is non-debatable. If you would refer it to the Board of Discipleship, raise your hand. Di ba yung Board of Discipleship kasali na yung you have merged that to another board, right?
Yeah, combination.
If you're against, raise your hand. It is referred. Next, number 3.
Number 3, after having gone through one-to-one individuals, must be adopted into cell groups. This is tantamount to the recommendation number 2, Bishop.
All right. Is there any reason for that?
Bishop, after at the time we discussed this so much with the group, we have the same thing in mind that this should be put into the cell groups because the cell groups can mentor effectively the members under the cell group. Having a cell group, the mentoring process will be easier for the cell leader because it is not so much a number, but a little number. Mentoring process is much easier for the cell leader to do so, Bishop.
All right. That is the rationale. Any discussion? Yes, Sister Phoebe.
I would like to know, Bishop, how that is different from the covenant discipleship groups that we already have.
All right. Is there any
Bishop.
difference at
Yes,
all?
Bishop. Pertaining to the covenant discipleship that we have, it is correlated and it is much easier to apply because we have that idea doing the covenant discipleship.
Okay. All right, that is the response. Any more? Are you prepared to vote yes or no on this matter? All right, I'll put this matter to a vote. It says, after having gone through one-to-one, individuals must be adopted into cell groups. That is what is before you. If you will approve that, raise your hand. If you are against, do the same. All right, the yes have it. It is adopted. Next, Brother Sosimo.
Number 4, to include an altar call at the end of a Sunday worship service in every local churches. The rationale for this, Bishop, is that we have some visitors wherein we do not know their standing, whether they are saved or not. So it is a must for every pastors to conduct or to have that kind of altar call every Sunday worship that we have because of the urgency of the time. That is the rationale behind this suggestion or recommendation, Bishop.
All right, any reaction to that? Any remarks? Kayong mga pastor, tuwing linggo, bago matapos yung serbisyo, you must have an altar call. Yes.
Norma Dulyaga po, Philippines Annual Conference. Are we supposed to legislate that? Are we supposed to agree or to vote on that? Hindi po ba bahagi naman yun ng trabaho ng pastor o kaya sa sistema ng ating mga worship services? So if we are supposed to legislate that, so every detail, ili-legislate na po natin ngayon.
I am right in saying that you're speaking against this proposal?
Point of inquiry, tsaka guidance, paano po ba ang ginagawa natin mga legislative measures dito sa ating annual conference? Kasi yung mga ganyan pong mga form or particularity, magiging president ng iba't ibang klase ng mga recommendations na kinakailangan ba ng legislative actions on recommendations like that.
Kaya nga ayaw mo ito. Yun ang sinasabi ko. Alright, I will take that as a speech against this proposal. Any more? Mga kapatid, ito yung sinasabi nila, tuwing linggo, before the end of the service, you must have an altar call. That is what it's saying.
Yeah.
Okay? Yes.
Joey Galnato po of Northwest Philippines. Friends, in our theology of worship, the whole worship itself is an invitation to all people worshiping to be holy and to appear before God pleasing. So there's no need for us to every Sunday have an altar call because the whole worship itself is a call for all people to be
All right, this
holy
is
before
a
God.
speech against it. Any more? Speech for. Somebody will speak for it? Or against it? Yes, Brother Kao.
Bishop and members of the conference, ako po'y sumasang-ayon at sumusuporta diyan sa recommendation na yan sapagkat ano naman po bang what is so debatable, what is so wrong, what is so objectionable to a proposition that before the end of every worship service, every Sunday, there will be an altar call. What is so objectionable to that? What is so wrong with that? Why can't we support this recommendation? Yun lang po. I'll be very, very brief. I am in favor of an altar call before the end of the service every Sunday. Maraming salamat.
All right, that is a speech for. Any more? Yes, Brother Ramos. I have called him, then after him, I will call Brother Mendilio.
Ernesto Ramos Minpak, I move that I refer this matter to rituals and worship.
All right. This is non-debatable. It's going to be referred to the Rituals and Worship Committee. If you will refer it, raise your hand. Thank you. If you're against, it is done. Next. Brother Sosimo.
Okay, number 5, recommendation, Bishop, to include intensify evangelism in the children's ministry.
All right. That you must intensify evangelism in children's ministry. Okay. Do you need to explain that or simply ask them to discuss it? Any remarks? Yes, Sister Loida.
Pagtatanong po sa nag-uulat, ibig po bang sabihin nito ay yung child evangelism?
Yes,
Yun po ba ang
Madam.
gusto nating sabihin?
Opo, Madam.
Kasi po, kung yun po ang gusto niyong sabihin, kailangan po ma-define nating mabuti ang child evangelism. Dahil po sa Christian education context ay mukhang hindi ko alam kung magkaiba yon. Pero may mga ginagawa po tayo ng mga hakbang na tinatawag po nating developmentally appropriate sa bawat edad. Kaya yung pong evangelism na sinasabi nating child evangelism, baka po magkaiba-iba tayo ng pananaw doon. Kaya dapat po i-define, ipaliwanag, at paano po ang pamamaraan nun dahil baka ho may konting confusion sa mga susunod na panahon.
All right. Yes, Sister Ayo.
Shoni Duarte po mula sa Quezon City, Philippines Annual Conferences. Iminumungkahi ko po na i-refer ang bagay na ito sa Board of Discipleship kung saan ang Christian Education and Communication ay nabibilang. Salamat po.
All right. It's a matter of referral. It is non-debatable. If you would refer it to that committee, raise your hand. All right. If you're against, it's done. Would you also refer the reporter? Next.
Okay, Bishop, the last but not the least, ito po yung pertaining for the recommendation for local churches to increase their budget allocation for witnessing, mission, and evangelism.
All right. That would be a more okay, next. Any discussion? They're saying, they are mandating you to increase your budget for witnessing. That's what it says here. Any remarks? All right. Yes, Sister Nimpa.
I am speaking against the recommendation since that is, I think it's now the responsibility of the local church.
All right.
We will increase or not. We don't need to legislate that.
Okay, that's speech against. Any more? Yes, Brother Pera. Huwag mo namang i-refer ulit.
Leto Pera po from Quezon City Pace. Mga kapatid, I'm in favor to the recommendation for one reason. You know, in the local church, lagi tinatanong nila, approve ba yan ng annual conference?
Alright.
Annual ba na central conference yan? Umaapila po ako kasama ng committee na ito'y aprubahan natin so that all the church workers, including the lay people who are present here, can strongly recommend to their church council to increase their budget in mission and evangelism. Thank you, Bishop.
Any more debate? You have one for and one against. If you are ready, I will put this matter to a vote. Those who would approve this, that you will mandate local churches to increase their budget allocated for witnessing, raise your hand. Those against? All right. It is approved. Are there more, Brother Susimo?
There's none, Bishop, and thank you very much for bearing this short message and recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brother Sosimo, for bringing this report. Brother Secretary, what is next?
Bishop, nothing is calendared further.
So are we ready to go home? There is a ballot. Yes, Sister Doti.
Bishop and members of this conference, we would like to recognize the presence of former presiding justice of the Court of Appeals, Nathaniel Depano Jr. and his family.
All right, where is he? Oh, yes, we welcome you, Justice, in our midst this conference. Thank you for your presence. All right, let us prepare ourselves. There is almost a ballot result.
Bishop, may
Yes.
announcement lamang po.
Yes.
Lost and found eyeglass po, paki-claim sa Secretariat's table.
Alright.
At saka po, mayroon pong nawawalan ng cellphone, pakibalik lamang po kay Pastor Sofronio Mina. Nawala daw po sa Miss Hall kanina. Salamat po.
All right, I will give the microphone to Bishop Brown for the ballot result.
Thank you, Bishop. This is the report on the 9th ballot. There were 464 ballots cast. 3 ballots were invalid. There were 0 blank ballots. 309 needed to elect. We do not have an election. The results are as follows. Torrio Pete, 220. O'Malley Joey, 219. Cunanan Helen, 168. Francisco Sirio, 145. Mendilo Mendre, 80. Estocco Manuel Jr., 73. This concludes the reading of the results of the ballot. I'll ask that be posted on the screen as soon as possible to give you a chance to see it. We will plan to take one more ballot this evening and impound that ballot and count it in the morning. We'll ask the tellers to prepare themselves. Can we center that on the screen a little bit and blow it up like you did before? One more name. Yeah. Thank you. All right, are the tellers ready? Heads of delegations, please check your count and stand when you're ready. Tellers, take your positions. Tellers, return to your position when you have your count. All right. All the tellers ready? All right, please report. Could we make sure this door is closed over here? The count for this ballot is 459. 459. Bishop DeCarroll? Sorry. So, would you do the prayer on this? Not just yet, but soon. as the tellers are receiving and checking their ballots, let me just once again remind the delegates that you are voting for two, first and last name. Before the ballots are distributed, Bishop DeCaro will be offering the prayer. Okay. I've received the excess ballots. If the delegates would please stand for the prayer.
Kararag tayo kakabsat. O Diyos nga man nakabali namin, agyaman kami apo iti parabor mo kada kami. Nga sika daka dito'y nagtitingaan mi, tulungam dagiti delegado nga agpili, ti leader mi apo, nga mangmaymaysa kadagiti anak mo, mangted iti direksyon iti iglesia iti upat nga tawen, ket dagitoy ko mga talo nga pilyem apo, ket agkay kaysada punwem ti spiritum ket isuda po ti agbalin nga pinilim ket aramatem nga instrumentum dagitoy nga delegado nga laiko ken papastor. Tinagan niya po mi nga Jesus. Amen.
Amen. You may distribute the ballots. During this time of balloting, I remind you of your rules that we remain silent and worshipful. I would ask those that are engaged in extraneous conversations if you would please respect your rules.